My documentary is based upon the conventions of an argument represented from both sides, which can be seen in expository documentaries such as Press Pause Play and Murder, Mayhem and Meditation. These two documentaries are ones that I have studied extensively myself, and I think that they're brilliant. Both of these documentaries had a wide variety of camera skills, including varying camera angle shots and talking heads during interviews. This is also something I decided I wanted in my documentary. Another common factor is the use of voiceovers, which is used extensively in expository documentaries, not only with explaining who I was talking to and during the animation sequence, but also during interviews with cutaway shots in between what the interviewee was saying. Interviews are a very important part of documentaries, in my opinion, because not only is it important to gain information from the public and important figureheads during a documentary, but I think it's also important to educate the audience on particular issues. In this case, that's equal marriage. I tried to challenge the ideas of formal interviews with people by making my interview with the two students to be slightly more informal. I just asked them if they could have a conversation or a debate rather than asking them direct questions, and then filming whatever they said, and it sparked up some really good ideas, which you can see in the documentary. One way that I try to challenge the conventions of a documentary is by using animation to explain the meaning of different sexualities. I found this to be important because the simplicity of the animation was imperative to the audience's understanding of the facts without setting certain stereotypes for the different sexualities. The more simplistic the explanation, the more the audience seemed to understand the idea of sexuality, and so the use of generic male and female signs was very helpful to audience members. In my magazine Double Page Spread, I tried to stay to a certain convention using the rule of thirds and the triangle method. The rule of thirds is a popular way to set up a double page spread, with each bit of text and every picture in a certain structured place. Before I started work on my magazine Double Page Spread, I analysed other magazine double page spreads and researched the triangle method extensively. The triangle method looks like this, and you need to put all of the important eye-catching things more towards the grey areas rather than the white areas where you should put the small text for the article. I tried to challenge the conventions of the magazine double page spreads that I've been looking at by following the rule of thirds and the triangle rule. Usually magazine designers choose one or the other, and due to audience research, usually choose the triangle rule. My radio ad was rather difficult as I was trying to produce it before the documentary, which wouldn't have worked. I need actual sound from the documentary to be able to create a dynamic radio advertisement which would catch people's attention. I used professionally recorded planned interviews and on location spontaneous sound recordings within the documentary to give it a bit of depth and to enhance the audience's ability to want to listen. In this sense, I challenged conventions of regular radio ads, which would only have perfectly planned sounds in order for them to be clear and concise so the audience could understand. Although radio ads for films and documentaries don't really happen anymore, they were very popular in the 70s and 80s. So technically, I've gone back to the roots of advertising through making this radio ad, which is very exciting. I think that my ancillary products, my radio ad and my magazine double page spread, do well to sell the idea of my documentary and what it's about. It's very important that the main subject of the documentary is put forward, and considering both products mention same-sex marriage, I think I've most definitely helped sell the documentary to people. The magazine double page spread gives a bigger insight than the radio ad for those who enjoy reading about these issues than watching TV, and my radio ad gives a slight overview of the subject and what the documentary entails in order for those people who don't necessarily have the time for reading, or for people who don't like reading, so that they can find out more about the subject when watching the documentary. I have a consistent image for the idea of same-sex marriage, which is that it is harmless, although I've tried to show both sides and be impartial. It was very difficult considering that I'm 100% for same-sex marriage. I also think the use of bright colours in the magazine double page spread makes a documentary look exciting and eventful, which it was at Sam Mezek's rally in summer 2014. The interlinking factors of the rally and the interviews in the radio ad, the double page spread and also the documentary really bring the entire project together to form a coherent promotional campaign for my documentary, and I'm very proud of my work.
I don't have a problem with same-sex marriage. Isn't a problem for me. What I think is really disgraceful is the fact that it's taking such a prominent role in Jersey politics.
I'm voting for Chris McGee because he's all for same-sex marriage.
I think that same-sex marriage is disgraceful because by doing that, then you're disrespecting God.
Featuring Jersey's first LGBT rally.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters,
A documentary based on the LGBT rights of Channel Island individuals.
we're here today to send out a message that Jersey men and women across the island believe that all people deserve the right to marry the person they love, regardless of their gender.
Same-sex marriage, the road to equality, airing on the 15th of June 2015 on BBC One.
I really like the use of the animation, and it really explains things about different genders and different sexualities and things like that. I really thought that was really informative and really helped explain everything like that. You got a good diversity of people commenting. You got male and female, and you got people for and against, and you got to hear people's views about it, and you managed to even talk to a politician who's right in the heart of the debate and who is fighting for it to become a law here in Jersey. A couple of constructive points is that a few of the shots were out of focus, and there was a few that sort of you didn't know where they were going at. Like there was a shot of the sign of States Chambers, but first it's just a pink wall, and you're like, why am I focusing on a pink wall? But other than that, it was really, really good.
I liked that you got an interview from a deputy because it felt a lot more professional that way, and I liked seeing the footage from the LGBT rally because I like to see that kind of thing, and I also liked the beginning part with like the Google. It just looked kind of cool.
I don't have a problem with same-sex marriage. Isn't a problem for me. What I think is really disgraceful is the fact that it's taking such a prominent role in Jersey politics.
I'm voting for Chris McGee because he's all for same-sex marriage.
I think that same-sex marriage is disgraceful because by doing that, then you're disrespecting God.
Featuring Jersey's first LGBT rally,
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters,
a documentary based on the LGBT rights of Channel Island individuals,
we're here today to send out a message that Jersey men and women across the island believe that all people deserve the right to marry the person they love, regardless of their gender.
Same-Sex Marriage, The Road to Equality, airing on the 15th of June 2015 on BBC One. The audience for my documentary have been extremely supportive all the way through, giving me constructive criticism and positive feedback. They've helped me improve my documentary in so many ways, and I thank each and every one of them for taking the time out to even watch my documentary and look at my ancillary products. Some have said that my documentary is fair and non-judgmental, which is key to creating an advocate documentary. Most like the use of animation to explain sexuality. One person said that it'd be better if I used images of real people so the audience could relate more to the images in front of them, and to dispel LGBT stereotypes. Although this idea was overruled by a majority of audience members, little things that were seen as an issue was the sound, which I was unable to really fix, and maybe I should have used a better microphone for some of the interviews. Also, I could have made the inset shots less shaky, such as the panning between the wall and the Royal Square before the interview with Jeremy Masson, as it is relatively unfocused. Most audience members also enjoyed my use of commentary, as it created a flowing transition between scenes. For my ancillary products, namely my magazine double-page spread, a majority of audience members said it was eye-catching and easy to read. The colourful and creative title and the picture in the left-hand bottom corner, they said, would catch their interest and get them to read the article, as well as the use of handed quotes dotted around the page. I've learnt the word flow and picture placement are all very important in the creation of an article, and that creating a creative and eye-catching title is all you really need to catch the reader's initial attention in order to get them to read on. The radio advertisement was also particularly well received. Most people said that it's an interesting way to advertise for a documentary and thought that it was thought-provoking, but that the music was distracting from the voices. This was something I tried to fix with less evasive music. I ended up using a song called Cylinder 6 by Chris Zabriskie, an unsigned artist who only asks for credit of his own work. I feel that I've learned about more than just what people find interesting in radio adverts, but that people expect a certain kind of product to be shown through radio adverts. And because I've challenged that norm, I feel proud of myself. I'd always planned for where interviews and such would happen, except when I was interviewing the students of Holier. This control of a mise-en-scène such as background was one of the only aspects that I could control, such as having the interview with Jeremy Masson in front of State's Chambers was done purposefully. The interview with the social worker was also done purposefully, which was set where she did her social work. I also used Adobe Photoshop for one of my ancillary products, my magazine double-page spread, and Adobe Sound Booth for my radio ad. I used 2 types of video cameras for my filming of my documentary and for my audience research. And for my evaluation, I've used a Zoom Handy Recorder H4n. I used the internet and social media extensively in my research stages, especially when it came to audience research. I mainly got most of my comments off of Facebook, but also off of evaluation sites and by survey sites such as SurveyMonkey, which really helped me to gain some experience of what my audience was looking for in the documentary and if people in Jersey would watch it. I used Adobe Premiere to edit my documentary and to export my radio advertisement so that I could put it onto YouTube. I used media technologies in all aspects of my construction research planning and evaluation by using Adobe Premiere to edit my evaluation and my documentary, using Adobe Photoshop for almost every picture that I've used so far, and using stills cameras to capture the comments on Facebook, which are in this evaluation.